as I said, and we discussed, today is the 6th day of the Omer. So what we've been doing so far, we have been broadening our perception of loving kindness. That's for the week that we're in, this first week, and our relationship with love and those who we love. First of all, we have to start with ourselves, because if we have a love and a complete connection with our own being, if we are accepting of our own self and forgiving of our own self, and have a healthy relationship actually without a dynamic running through our head where we're constantly shaming ourselves or judging ourselves, we will then be able to have a more complete and whole relationship with others. So first we should love ourselves, then we should love others. As we say, love your neighbor as yourself, do unto others as you would have done unto you. So how do we share our love with others? So we've gone through this, are we open-hearted or miserly? Do we love unconditionally, or do we wield our love as a weapon? Or do we know people who do this? Do we have healthy boundaries and discipline in our love and actions? If we have somebody that is wielding their love as a weapon and we can't handle that situation or make peace with it or resolve it, then in order to be healthy and truly love ourselves, we may have to do something about that to protect ourselves and our spirit and our soul. In our relationships, are we operating from a point of compassion and empathy? Are we able to endure hardships and challenges in life and love with kindness and repose? And do we have humility? So that's what we had yesterday for day 5. We discussed humility and its importance. C.S. Lewis once said, humility is not thinking less of yourself, it's thinking of yourself less. So can we look at ourselves and say that we are completely humble in our dealings with others? Are we letting our loved ones sometimes win the battle so we don't lose the war? So, last night it was very interesting. Oh, I did not ask my husband if I could share the story, but it was a very interesting thing because what we had an opportunity to work on some of the attributes and things that we were talking about. I had washed his robe that he normally puts on when, he's, just changing out of his clothes. And then he has another one because I'm being very anal about the cleanliness right now during the COVID for when he takes a shower and then gets ready for bed. So I was washing the regular one. And when I saw that, I had not given him the new one, I was all upset. And I said, I want you to, change and take another shower. So that could have been a real nightmare of a situation. And he didn't want to have to take another shower, but he realized at that moment that I needed it more than he needed to just, go ahead and wear that same robe. So it expanded my love for him and the bonding that we had together because he did that for me. And that's what we have to do sometimes. Sometimes we have to look at ourselves and we have to say, can we, humble ourselves in our own dealings so that we can let our loved ones have what they need so that they can feel secure and safe and whole. Sometimes we don't want to fight so hard to win the battle that we really do lose the whole situation and the entire benefit that we're trying to create by having the dialogue in the first place. So at the very least, we have to ask ourselves, are we really able to listen and hear where that other person is coming from so that we can then make decisions about how we want to react or behave? So we don't want to be in a situation where we're always reacting. We want to be proactive in our relationships, but we want to be able to love enough to be able to back off if needed, or hold back, or bend, or give a little so that the other person will feel respected and feel loved. So we have to lessen the severity of the situation by enabling a healthy and constructive dialogue. So we are going to now move forward with the rest of our session as we go through now into the actual 6th day of the Omer. So the day 6 is the Yesod of Chesed, bonding in love and kindness. People learn best in partnership. So we are designed, this whole system, God created us to have partners in the universe. We are created, B'Tselem Elohim, in the image of God. So we have godliness inside us along with our humanity. So as we discussed yesterday, when we are on this earth plane, we have the opportunity to be able to feel completely the whole gamut of emotions. We also have been given free will and the power to choose what we want to do in our lives, how we can make a difference. Are we going to actually promote our best self and our best interests and best efforts, or are we going to do something to jeopardize, our position and where we really are? So tonight with Omer 6 and all day tomorrow during day 6 of the Omer, we need to think about the bonds that we have with people. So our first relationship is with our parents, with our mother or our father or whatever relationship we have with our caregivers that are taking care of us. Sometimes we have, different dynamics in a family, or sometimes we have, other caregivers that are taking care of us. So we hope that first initial experience, that first bond that we have is a healthy one. Because when it isn't, chaos ensues and it takes a lifetime of therapy to get over it. But what we do and how we work with one another and the bonds that we are able to create in our lifetime, this is the opportunity for us to grow and advance our capacity for love. And the way that we work within these dynamics, when we can overcome or work with what comes up for us, this is then what defines our ability to give and receive love. Love is actually, it's like water for the soul. It's like air. We need air. It's nourishment for our soul, our heart, and our complete being. Without it, we will self-destruct. So the bonding between people is essential. Zat Rana, in an article on what it takes to bond, said that a bond with someone is forged when we move away from showing them our public self to when we actually have an ability to show them our private self without worrying about the common repercussions that come with doing so. We cross the preference threshold to invite someone who until then was a relative stranger into our weird and beautiful and personal little world. We need each other. We need healthy bonds. We need healthy relationships. We all want love that lasts for an eternity. And it isn't possible unless we have healthy and constructive bonding, nurturing. Bonding is the glue that binds heart to heart and soul to soul. It is the source of all connection. It is the source of intimacy. It is the true core, the nexus of love. When we can work together in partnership, when we are unified, then and only then is anything possible. Our planet would be an entirely different place if we had a bonding between countries, between individuals, between races. When there is a oneness and a human connection, then chaos can be dissolved into a state of peace. And that's what hopefully COVID-19 is going to do for us on the upside, that there's going to be devastation and loss, but there's a communal shared loss in the humanity that's grieving together for what we're going through. And it crosses over. There aren't any boundaries that COVID knows. It crosses over through all denominations of race and financial abilities and in countries. We are in one bucket of chaos, but the bonding that we can do by helping one another, sharing with one another the research, the ideas, being loving for our neighbors, our brethren around the world, that's going to make a difference. Bonding begets a fruit that lasts an eternity. And it isn't the negativity of a fruit that's forbidden. It's a sweet, ripe, succulent fruit that is satisfying. People coming together with one goal, a meeting of minds, a meeting of souls, a meeting of hearts, a true and complete connection. So during this time of COVID, we have the time to bond with our families in a different way, to connect that we didn't otherwise have, like we have with all the Zoom meetings and everything that's going on with, YouTube and Facebook Live. So there's so many different ways that we have to connect. Solitude by itself can bring silence, but sometimes in that silence, we can learn. So if we quiet the chaos, maybe bigger truths will be revealed. taking the time to meditate, taking the time to learn and study, taking the time to read, taking the time to just sit in your backyard or your front yard and quiet the noise and hear and listen for the big truths that could be revealed within your own being. We have the time now to reach out and connect and to bond in ways that we've never seen before. We have the opportunity to grow and to adapt and to learn, or we can stay stuck and then we're really trapped. We have a choice. We have that free will. So real bonding that can happen between friends and lovers is just the gift of real life on this earth plane. Ann Landers said that love is friendship that has caught fire. It is a quiet understanding, mutual confidence, sharing, and forgiving. It is loyalty through good times and bad times. It settles for less than perfection, and it makes allowances for human weaknesses. We are now subject to a virus that threatens to destroy us all at any given moment. So we can't know if or when it's coming for us. You know, it was stated on the news yesterday that if we were to go out too early and a second wave hit us, that the projections would be by August 1st, 95% of people in the state of California, or I think the city of Los Angeles, could have COVID. So we have to understand that the only thing that we have real control over is ourselves and what we do and how we behave. Our physical, spiritual, psychic, and social, I'll bet, physically distanced connections. What we choose to do with our time, what we choose to do with our choices as to whether to stay in or to go out. We all are supposed to wear the mask. We're supposed to wear gloves if we can do that, wipe everything down and be as you know, crucial in our planning and our cleaning and our, you know, honoring, in a sense, the commandments that will beat COVID. So this is more important now than ever, so that we have the opportunity to strengthen our relationship with one another, our relationship to the world, the relationship in between states and between governors and, you know, mayors and the politicians, bonds that will help us grow beyond where we are right now. We need to take, all of us, and everyone should be taking the Home Air Inspiration class like you. We need to take what we've learned so far to enhance our physical, spiritual, emotional, and personal connections. Trust, affection, these are very necessary components. A willingness to be vulnerable, to reveal parts of ourselves that we don't usually show to others, to strip away our facades and create an accessibility to a higher self that we have within us, to expand our level of consciousness and our ability and level of closeness. This pandemic has placed us up close and personal with the fragility of life. We need to make every single moment count. We need to take care of our business. We need to enhance our connections, strengthen our bonds, and maybe even create some new ones to truly see what's important. So we have the last 2 days of Pesach happening now, Wednesday and Thursday. So for this sixth day, which is the you know, if you're Reformed, some people, it's the last day of Pesach, the seventh day, but then we also have Thursday if you're more traditional and observant. So take the time to think about the bonds that you have and think if there's some way that you can enhance those bonds, and do it. Look to build something of value, maybe with someone that you love. Strive to build better bonds where you see that it's necessary, closer ones. Nurture and increase the bonds that you already have. And in your relationships, look for and fix what might just be a little bit broken so that you can rebuild trust. Maybe it's going to take some conversations. You've got the time to do it right now. So nurture what is to create something better. One thing that this pandemic has done, it has humbled the entire world. The whole world has been brought to its knees. So let us work on ourselves, let us work on our relationships so that we can rise up stronger and wiser than we were before. Better for having come through this pandemic together. That's what it's all about. Love, creating good bonds, healthy relationships, opening ourselves up and being the best that we can be. So that's day 6. Thanks for sharing. So now I'm going to take some questions. So here we go.